Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to go ahead and not work on this tank, but work on our brand new Red Sea Peninsula. And today we are going to go ahead and put the rock in, sand in, and get the little sucker wet. And I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how I want to do it. So for the last couple weeks, as you can see in previous episodes, we went ahead and cycled this rock. So currently I just have a pump going on in here, just blowing some water, and then we have all the rocks that Aquascape we have just kind of sitting in here. So basically this has just been cycling. It's basically a reef tank in a trash can at this point, but it's, you know, gotten its population up. We put pieces of rock that are in my current reef tank in here to seed all that bacteria, just so that we're able just to, you know, take all this, put it directly into the tank, and I should be pretty much able to add corals almost immediately. Now, as for the sand, generally my choice of sand has always been this stuff right here. It's called Fiji Pink, which is basically just very uniform looking sand, you know, nothing special, just kind of what you'd expect from like a beach, for example. Now for this round, we're actually going to try something a little bit different. We're going to go with Bimini Pink, and what that is it's basically just like this Fiji Pink, but it has a couple little larger chunks in it. I think just to kind of make it a bit more natural. Now, I don't really think, you know, sand really makes much of a difference. I mean, as far as what type that you get, you can use, for example, black sand. I've had that in previous tanks. Maybe if it's your first tank, I wouldn't go bare bottom, just because, number one, you kind of want it to look like a reef tank, so you kind of have to have sand. But also, you know, it's kind of a different animal on its own, because you don't have all this surface area created by the sand for all your bacteria to live. So you kind of have to go a different route as far as, you know, making sure you have enough bacteria for a tank if you decide to go like the bare bottom route. But like I said, for this build, we're going to go ahead with this Bimini Pink. You'll see in a little bit, it's just a bit chunkier of a sand, which is super cool. Now, to aquascape this tank, obviously you've seen in the previous episodes, I kind of had, you know, aquascape kind of planned out in my garage. But because this tank was supposed to be over there, but now it's over here, instead of having a front and right angle viewing, it's now a front and left angle viewing, which I wasn't really expecting to do. So I still want to use the same rocks just because I already have them cycled and ready to go, but we are going to have to play with the aquascaping a little bit just to make sure, you know, I can view it from this side and this side instead of the other side. So we're going to bring the rocks over here, just kind of mess with them, see kind of what aquascapes we can get, and yeah, we're gonna get it filled up with water. Alright, so this is kind of the aquascape I think I'll go with for right now. For the most part, this is just going to be a softy tank for the first little bit, and the whole goal is just to not have to dose it. I may change up something with the back here, but for the most part, it's kind of nice just having, you know, kind of two little offshoots right here, and then just kind of an open spot, and we'll see how we can aquascape this. We'll just kind of play around with it, but the most important part is just to get this cycled first and cycled right, so we don't have any algae blooms, hopefully, and, you know, it comes out okay. So we just made sure, you know, rocks are pretty stable, that they won't go anywhere. Have some good clearance in the back right here, just so we don't, just so that we are able to clean it a little bit better in case algae or coralline grows on there. And, you know, just to keep everything away from the wall, just so you have enough clearance if you need to do maintenance or anything else. But next, we're going to go ahead and just get the bag of sand in here, and then we're going to go ahead and fill it up. Now, to fill it up, what I'm going to do is actually take water from my main display right here and dump it into here. And the reason being is, you know, the water, even if it just has a little bit of bacteria, it's still bacteria, and every little bit I feel like does help. So as we take water out from here and put it in here, it should hopefully be almost a reef ready tank. And then also we'll be able to do a water change on this tank so that we can keep the nutrients and everything in check. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the sand in here and the water in here, and you know, hopefully it'll be just a reef tank ready to go. Alright, so we've gone ahead and added all the water. We've turned on the power head. No real need to turn on the heater at this moment or the skimmer, just because, you know, it's a brand new tank. Heater shouldn't be too much of an issue right now because it is Las Vegas and it is quite warm. We'll just let it kind of, you know, mellow out on its own temperature. It should be at about 76 just on its own, given the temperature, you know, locally. But what we're just going to do is let it do its thing overnight. The pump is on. It is skimming. We're just going to let all the sand settle to the bottom. We'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be cleared up by then, and we'll be able to see what this tank looks like. Alright, so now it's been a couple days since, you know, we've gotten the tank itself running. As you can see, the water has cleared up a lot, and overall, I think it looks pretty good. I think I'll actually end up keeping this Aquascape. It doesn't allow for a lot of very tall things to be grown, but I'm okay with that. But there's just a lot of crevices. It looks, honestly, to me, it looks pretty darn natural. So we're going to go ahead and keep it this way. Now, we did obviously use the rock that was cycled in that trash can for a while. We do have live sand, so biologically this should be okay. There's a lot of, you know, water and bacteria that was used from this tank that is now in here. But just to help it out a little bit, what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and take the media balls out of the bottom, there we go, of my Reef Mat 1200. Now these have also been seeded for quite a few weeks, you know, just kind of sitting under there, right under where all the detritus gets sucked up. But we're just going to take this guy and we're also just going to drop it in here for a little while. I don't think it'll really hurt at all. You can see there's like little bits of algae. There's, you know what it is? There's life. There's life in there that I think will be super helpful. So we're just going to leave that in there. Let whatever's in these balls seed the rest of the tank. And I feel like that's also going to help just, you know, push it that much more forward biologically. So, you know, by the time we do add maybe a fish or some snails or some coral, it'll be pretty much just ready to go. And we won't really have much of an ugly stage. It'll just be, you know, smooth sailing from here until the end. But we're gonna let this guy sit for a little bit, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, so it has been about another week, and yeah, here we go on the tank. Really, you know, nothing interesting has happened. We are basically just letting that big ol' thing of marine life balls, all that bacteria, just kind of go over everything. Now, obviously, it's too early to see if there's an actual cycle or not. I have had the light on, but as you can see, there's nothing in here, no algae, anything like that. I have been feeding the tank, actually, though, with just like some of this stuff. Oop. prime reef flakes, just to, you know, put some calories into the water, basically. And, you know, I think I'm pretty much ready for coral. Now, I've never tested for nitrates or phosphates. I honestly don't even own test kits for that. I'm just going basically off of, hey, this is live rock. It's been sitting with seeded rock. We have marine life balls. It's been sitting with the balls. And one thing I really wish I could show you super well, but I don't know if you can see it. If I go maybe back far enough, if you look at the front glass right here, ooh, that's better. Do you see all those dots on the left pane? Those are all copepods. Every single one of them. Clearly, you know, there is nothing in this tank. I mean, well, clearly there's nothing in this tank as far as predators. Obviously here we have fish and, you know, this and that, just kind of eating everything. But since there is basically a blank slate in here, we have a pretty booming pod population. So I take that as a pretty darn good sign that I'm ready for fish. Well, maybe not fish, but at least maybe ready for coral. So in the next episode, since, you know, we just don't have anything in this tank, we can go ahead and at least put coral first, I think, since it doesn't take up much of a bioload at all. What that'll do is introduce some of the, you know, additional bacteria into the tank as well. And most importantly, it'll introduce some coralline algae. So yeah, we're basically gonna just remove this, and in the next episode we're gonna get started adding some coral, and, you know, we'll see what we want to put in here. Now, like I said, this is primarily going to be a softy tank, so no hard corals, no LPS. I just want a real basic reef that grows, looks nice, and you know, is easy to maintain. Basically, we'll have, you know, zero maintenance. That's my biggest goal. So yeah, thank you guys for watching as always. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
I grew up in a place